Warren Buffett drives very cheap car.
I know some multi-millionaires that drive average cars even though they can afford easily Ferrari or Rolls-Royce. So why do they do that? Most people are different. They buy things to look like a millionaire. They buy things to change their appearance on surface, but really successful people are focused on being millionaires and being successful rather than just look successful. And their mindset, it's not a secret. It's written in Bible and they just follow the rules. Yes, you read that right. People that are worth 200 million, 500 million, 1 billion more, many times they just follow biblical principles. And today I want to reveal 5 superpowers that I discovered that these people have. They are very simple, but still very powerful. Superpower number 1 is focus. If we'll go to the book of Luke, we'll see this, the power of focus here in Jesus' words. You are, Martha, Martha, you're worried and bothered and anxious about so many things, but only one thing is necessary. For Mary has chosen the good part, that which is to her advantage, which will not be taken away from her. So with this one principle, Jesus teaches us something that many millionaires and billionaires, they do. There is a billionaire in Germany, his name is Oliver Samwell, and I learned this from one of his mentees. He shared that Oliver asks himself a question every day. If I would work for just 2 hours today, what I would do? What is the ultimate result of that 2 hours that would satisfy me? And this is the very powerful question to ask yourself today. What is that one thing that you can focus on today that will bring you further in your business, in your personal growth, maybe in your family? So it depends on the aspect of your life that you wanted to improve. The other case that we can see in Jesus' life is that in Matthew chapter 7, there was a lady, she was a Gentile, but she came to Jesus to ask to pray for her daughter that were dying, and Jesus refused to pray for her because he said, "I'm not sent to serve Gentiles." So you know the end of the story, but the idea of Jesus rejecting her request to pray for her kid is really standing out, and many people, they are wondering how could the full of love God, he refused that request. But Jesus was just very focused. He was not just telling Martha to stay focused. He was applying the same principle himself. So Jesus was focused on serving Jewish nation, and that was the kind of divine plan of God, that apostles and Paul and all the other followers and disciples, they will bring the gospel to the Gentiles, and Jesus himself did not bring it to Gentiles. So with that said, being a Messiah for Jews, he refused to serve Gentile, but when he saw her faith, he answered her request. There are many lessons to learn, but the thing that billionaires, they follow Jesus in this kind of approach of staying focused, that really brings me clarity to my life, that if I will do the same, I will get the same results. The other aspect of this is that scientists and science and research studies, they say that our brain was not created to multitask for different, broken pieces of work. Our brain and our body works best when we are focused on certain things, on certain projects for a certain period of time, when we are in focus. And using, your social media when you are working, it just breaks everything. And I know, actually I can share it, but it's my wife. When she's on maternity right now, but when she worked at her day job, she was not checking her Facebook and her Instagram during work. She was very focused on doing her work, and then when she had break, let's say 10 minutes break, she was checking that. So this is a great lesson to learn. You don't want to be distracted. You don't want to be to break your focus. So stay focused and you will get results. Stay focused like Jesus, stay focused like billionaires, and you will get their results. And the last thought, but not the least, is that all the successful people that I know, they cut the noise and they are focused on signals. The other saying, regarding noise and signal, it's different, but it is the same point, that ignore the trivial many, focus on a vital few. It's my co-founder who taught me this, Chris from San Francisco. His kind of life motto is focus on a vital few and ignore the trivial many. You know, if you try to do everything and stay like, try to please everyone around you, you just can't. You are not a coffee to please everyone. So I hope you learn. The next two superpowers are related to your time, and the superpower number 2 is calendar. Everyone knows about calendar, but studies say that less than 10% they really use it on a daily basis. And so today I want to encourage you to watch a couple of videos and see, how people use calendar. But it's crystal clear that Jesus, he had clear goals and clear action steps in front of him. It's crystal clear on YouTube that successful people like Ramosi or Dave Martel or Brian Tracy and many other coaches and entrepreneurs and investors, they use calendar because you can't hold everything in your head. So here's the passage in the New Testament that says, making the very most of your time on earth, recognizing and taking advantage of each opportunity and using it with wisdom and diligence, because the days are filled with evil. The days are filled with evil. It means that you cannot really sense your time and you cannot really sense your days and get a real feeling of how time flies by. So this is why you have to have some sort of measurable platform that can show you where your time goes to. And calendar is the best kind of invention that I started using over the last 5 years, because I didn't use calendar before starting Evolve Squads. So when I started Evolve Squads, there was a great, I think on the second year, I had a lot of things to do, and I was not that attentive to details. And there was a lady with us, her name is Natalia, and she's very talented, and she basically she told me, hey, why don't you use calendar? And I'm like, yeah, I have to. And this really changed my life, like before and after. So there are many videos on YouTube how entrepreneurs, they use their calendars. So I don't want to do a deep dive. It's not a matter of how you use calendar. It's a matter of using calendar, of having calendar. There is a top 20 angel investor in the world, and I have a privilege to learn from him in like membership group that I pay for. But one of the things he shared there is that he's making himself tens of investments. I think he's about 95 times investor and more than 10 times founder himself. And so what I learned from him is that he typically does not invest into founders that have less than 70 to 80 action items every week in their calendar. So if their calendar is empty, if there are no deadlines, if there are very few action items, and that founder doesn't really use it on a daily basis, so that investor, he typically does not invest in that kind of company. And this opens our eyes, because if people that are net worth like more than 200 million, if they follow this rule themselves and they do not give money to people that don't follow this rule, this brings the importance of using calendar to the next level. Calendar is not just a plan. It's your promise to yourself, to your time, to what's important to you. I don't know who's the author of that quote, but it's definitely crystal clear that it is a promise to yourself. Some people, they even add their death, the date of their death to their calendar. If that's the case, so that could be too extreme. I know people that add sex time with their wife into their calendar. It's kind of sort of extreme, but it is just to show you guys how important it is to have calendar. Personally, I have two calendars. I have my work-related calendar, and I have my personal calendar, which includes my work-related calendar. The reason for doing this is that I was told by my colleagues that if my work calendar is open to everyone, so everyone within the company, they can see my calendar. So, and obviously I don't want to do personal, I don't want to put my personal stuff into that calendar. So I have personal one, but I want to see my work-related stuff in my personal calendar. So this is why I plug in my work-related calendar into my personal calendar. So it's always, I think, blue color. So everything that's work related, it's related to blue. But you know, there are many more colors. I think in Google Calendar it gives you 8 or 10 different colors. So you can use different colors for different types of things. So let's say yellow is family, purple for me is YouTube and media ministry, and blue is work related. Dark blue is in-person meeting with someone, which is work related. So I don't want to overwhelm you with details, but the whole point of having calendar is crystal clear. If you'll start using it, there are a bunch of videos that will give you understanding of how to use it. The next superpower is number 3. Superpower number 3 is time boxing. I learned this, I think, a couple of years ago, maybe 5, maybe 7 years ago. I heard about Pomodoro method, and it's very powerful. And you could again, there are a bunch of videos about Pomodoro method. But a couple months ago, I met a business consultant from Australia that works with people that make 50 million, 100 million, 200, 500. Even he has even a client that makes 2 billion a year. And I asked him, hey, what's the thing that is common for all of your clients? And he thought for a few minutes about that, and then he said to me, you know, there are only 2 or 3 things that they have in common, because they are all different, they are all unique, but there is a time boxing technique they use. All of them they use. And it's not about the exact time boxing. You can use something else, not Pomodoro, but you know, I know about entrepreneurs that have just morning hours for the focused work. Then from 12 to 6, let's say, they do just the you know, low-hanging fruits and meet someone and whatever. And after 6 p.m. they have family time, and then the next day they repeat. And by the way, the rule that I just shared is from a guy that at some point his net worth was 6 billion USD. So the other guy whose net worth, I think it's a bit somewhere in between 500 to 1 billion in today's money. His rule is that Mondays he works on strategy within the company, and he has meetings, he has focus on strategic things. Then on Tuesday he's focused on sales, so he does everything related to sales within the company, and then on Wednesday he meets people from other companies that are in the same industry, and then Thursday he does something else, and Friday something else. But yeah, but you could do it like daily focus, and then certain days you focus on certain kind of priorities, or you can do hours, and then certain hours you dedicate to a certain kind of work. Or like I do, I follow Pomodoro, so when I have a couple of hours of focused work, I just use my timer on my phone, and you know, I press it, and I know that for the 22 minutes of sprint, I will not check my email, I will not check my messengers. I will just focus on that kind of task. And again, back to the superpower number 1, focus. You know, every evening you should plan that one thing that you're going to accomplish tomorrow. So plan tomorrow today is one of the ideas that you have to follow, and then put everything on its place. Superpower number 4 is notes. And here are my notes. You can use, like I do, you know, physical notes, and you can just, whatever comes to your head, you put this into your notes. You can do like many people do, you use the built-in app on your phone, which is very powerful. Notes, you can do voice notes, you can transcribe voice note into text and then work with that notes. But the whole idea of putting your thoughts on its place is super important, and the notes go very closely with the aspect of being detailed oriented, because I will tell you a story. Let's call this guy John. He's from the United States of America, and he was a founder of great company. And he nailed it. Great idea, great team, great start, great launch. They were growing like crazy, maybe like Wall Squats in 2021, 2022. So I had to readjust the whole life, but he didn't. He thought that he can hold everything in his head. And John, he was very talented. So for a time being, he was able to hold almost everything in his head. The company grew. Other people, other investors, they joined the company because they believed in that vision and in that company. So at some point, John started missing things, small things here, small things there, but he was missing some meetings, or he was late, or he promised to do 5 things and then completed only 4. And it's written in the Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 15. Catch the foxes for us, the little foxes that spoil and ruin the vineyards of love while our vineyards are in blossom. So if your business is growing, you nailed it on the bigger scale. But now the little things, they come to play. And this John, he was not that sort of detailed oriented person, so he started missing things. So at some point, his board, they asked him to step off his CEO position because he was not the best guy to be there. They just told him, hey John, you're a great guy, you'll be a great board member, but for daily operations we need someone who's more detailed oriented. And so they replace him. So years pass, and now John is not board member. John is not a major shareholder. John is not the CEO of that company, but that company is a Nasdaq traded company. Now this company is a Nasdaq traded company, but John is not with that company anymore. He's not the CEO, he's not a board member, he's I think he holds some shares, but he's definitely not the guy that impacts that company in any way. So this is the lesson for all of us to learn. And by the way, this lesson that I learned, it's from Edwin Lewis Cole. And if you will have an opportunity to get his books for real man, I strongly recommend you to read his books, because this is the guy of integrity, of honor, and he did such a great job for the kingdom of God. And I think many 100 million people in Christian world, they appreciate his ministry, because that principles that he explains, he describes in his books, they are eternal. Edwin went to be with the Lord, I think 20 years ago, but his legacy is alive today. So feel free to use it. Think about this. If David wouldn't write down his thoughts, his songs, we wouldn't have Book of Psalms. If Paul the Apostle, if he wouldn't write down these letters, these messages, these sermons to the churches in Rome or in Corinth, we wouldn't have that books today. So the idea of writing down your ideas, your thoughts, putting your thought process on paper, this is the eternal principle that we see in the written word of God. So if God wouldn't give us the written word, we wouldn't have something to study today. So if we wouldn't have a constant reminder of how to live and where to go. If I haven't convinced you to use your notes, there is a study that says that 80% of the information that you just learned, you will forget within the next hour. And another 16% from the remaining 20, you will forget within the next 23 hours. So that will leave you with only 4% of the information that you learned in this video. So I would urge you to get your notes right now and to put your thoughts that you learned from this videos. And that could be just one thought, just one action item that you learned today, but go and get it, go and put it into your notes. Another recommendation that I would give is, I think it's one of the best books that you can read on this matter. And I heard from 200 million guy, he's investor from Dubai, he's serial entrepreneur, great guy. And he's, by the way, he's German origin, so he's very, very, very disciplined. So he sure that except Bible, if you will read just one book, that should be a book called Getting Things Done. And Getting Things Done by Mr. Allen, it's an instruction, it's a tutorial how to use notes. Basically, if I would have just 30 seconds to explain to you what it's in that book, I would show you this mind map that you see on the screen, and just tell you, hey, everything that takes less than 2 minutes, do it right now if you can. If you, obviously, if you have prayer time or you're meeting with someone, and you should have this or your phone, and just put that thought on paper or on your phone and get rid of that thought. Don't think of on that anymore, because you already wrote it down. And then when you'll have, let's say, half an hour time, let's say Pomodoro sprint, you can just get rid of 15 things that take less than 2 minutes. And for the things that take more than 2 minutes, you should have a certain process. And again, read that book or just read study the mind map. And you know, if you will apply this principle, that this is not what I promise. This is the promise from guy who is top 20 investor and 200 million net worth. Just one book that will change your life before and after. Obviously, except the holy word of God, it's this Getting Things Done. But there are obviously very beautiful books on other matters, but this one is regarding notes, I think is the most powerful. And the superpower number 5, it's already been spoiled, but it's details. I will read you from Proverbs chapter 6. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come. But the same principle applies on the positive end. If you will work a little bit, if you will give some attention to details here and some attention to details there, it will magnet your success. And again, Song of Songs 2:15, catch the foxes for us, the little foxes that spoil. So the little foxes, but they spoil. So very little things, they can either bring you or push you forward, or the same little things, if you're not gonna do them, they will just hold you on your place, and you will not get and you will not fulfill your destiny. And all of us, we are predestined. We read it in Ephesians chapter 1. We are predestined. I think it's verse 5. But you know, if we will not obey the word of God, if we will not apply the same principles that world knows, Luke chapter 16, it says that he who is faithful in a very little thing, say with me, very little thing, is also faithful in much. And he who is dishonest in a very little thing is also dishonest in much. This is the power of details. This is the power of details. And if we will go two verses back, for the sons of this age, the non-believers, are smarter, more creative in relation to their own kind, that is, to the ways of the secular world, than are the sons of light, the believers. So this is the lesson to learn today. And if you will combine all of these 5, is stay focused, ask God what you have to do in your life, accomplish this year or this quarter or this month, or what's the number 1 priority that He has for you. Then use calendar and time boxing to work daily towards your goal to stay productive. And then to other things, keep making notes, because God will advise you, God will correct you, God will direct you, and God will protect you as you go. And I'm quoting a guy named Denzel Washington. If you haven't listened to his video, Put God First, I strongly recommend you. But this is what he says: as you obey God, He will direct you, He will correct you, and He will protect you. So use your notes to put His directions and corrections on paper, and then meditate, and then pray over, and then be very attentive to details, little things, small things, like we read today in this many passages. You know, that will keep you productive, that will keep you focused, and that you keep you effective. May God bless all of us. Godspeed. Thank you. Cheers.